Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Beginner Basics webinar. We're so excited to have you here. As you all are filing into the room, just a couple of reminders. There's a chat function within the Demio software that we're using today, and we would love for you to use it. So hopefully it's really obvious where it is. Please feel free to interact with each other. Our best webinars are when we have people talking to each other and to us. We will definitely have a Q&A at the end. So we'll make sure that we go over any questions that you might have as well. Matt, can you see this webinar well enough? See my slide deck?
Totally.
Okay, cool. So Matt and I have been running Listingmare webinars together for a few months now. And so hopefully you know our faces, but if you don't yet, we're just going to jump right into it. So we're starting with our intros today. Then we're going to go through the Listingmare process, talk a little bit about the 3 pillars of Listingmare, and then you know what? It looks like I forgot we're talking about the 3 pillars of Listingmare. We're going to go into each pillar, and then we're going to talk through some hot tips and tricks before we get into Q&A. So thank you so much for joining us. We have 2 different people or 2 different types of people in mind with this webinar today. The first group is going to be people who are brand new to Listingmare, who have signed up for the software, but just aren't quite sure how to use it. The second group are going to be people who are interested in Listingmare, but maybe just haven't bit the bullet yet. So we're hoping that we cover topics and in a format that is really comfortable and really relatable for you, so that you know how to move forward wherever you're at in the process. So Matt and I are your presenters today. I am Erin, co-founder and COO here at Listingmare, and I have Matt with me. Matt has been with Listingmare for over 5 years now, and he is our senior tech support specialist. He is the only senior tech support specialist. So that is why I have him along, because he oftentimes knows a lot more about how stuff works in the day-to-day world. So he's a super valuable asset to the company, and then also specifically to these webinars, and then as well to you as clients as you're using the software and you have questions. Matt is often someone who will be answering those questions. So I kind of already went through this, but please use the chat feature. Oh, we already have a question here. Is there a microphone to speak and ask questions? There is not a microphone. All questions will be taken by chat. And I will be doing my best to kind of be sorting through the questions as they come in, because sometimes it's better to ask your questions when you have them on your mind versus waiting until the end. So feel free to keep asking, and then we will make sure to answer them at the end. And yes, this webinar is being recorded so that you can use it in the future. Just send it to others or to do whatever with it that you need to do in order to make it valuable to you. So yes, we will be able to use the content afterwards. So we'll send it out to you. Okay, so we are going to start today talking through the Listingmare process. A question I get all the time, and I think is a little bit hard to tell at first glance when you're looking at the Listingmare website, is how do I get through to using the software? So I put together this cute little illustration here to kind of help demonstrate how it is that we get through to actually using the product. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to register on our website. So there is a button on the top right of the website, just listingmare.com. You just click that button, fill out a little bit of information. It'll be a bit of information about your team, about your company, excuse me. Then the second part will just be about the integrations that you're adding to Listingmare. So what marketplaces do you want to connect to the Listingmare software, and what other integrations? So other integrations might be something like your ShipStation account, or you Rakuten Super Logistics. Oh, that has a new name, Ship Network. So it could be, integrations like that as well. In any case, you're going to add those integrations to Listingmare. That is going to be part of your registration process. Should not take super long. I have a time frame in here. I'm thinking it takes like 5 to 10 minutes at least to get it started. Once you have that part done, then we have to import your listings from the existing marketplaces. So what Listing Mirror is doing during that period of time is we are importing listings from your Amazon account, from your eBay account, from Walmart, from Shopify, wherever those listings already exist. And we are creating a product catalog with those listings, which we'll get into in a second. That takes a little bit of time, both because we have to gather that information, and then we have to wait on the different marketplaces to give us the information that we need. So I say anywhere from 2 to 24 hours. A lot of that really just depends on the number of listings. Is that right, Matt? Yeah. So,
totally.
I mean, if you have a catalog of, let's say, a few hundred listings, then your account probably will be done within a couple of hours. If you are someone that has maybe closer to 500,000 or 1 million listings, you're probably looking at more like a 24-hour time period as well. Quick little tip here: if an account has not completely finished importing within 24 hours and you haven't gotten notice, you can let us know. Sometimes it indicates that there's something that is hung up and we just need to make a change. But until that point, it's pretty normal for the import to still be happening. Once that import is done, we send you an email. We let you know, hey, your account is ready. You can log in and you can start using it. So then step number 3, implementation. And implementation is really just about making sure that your settings are set up correct, and making sure that some of the basic stuff makes sense to you. So really basic things would just be creating a listing, changing a price, updating quantity, something like that. Usually it's a 2 to 3 day process. I would just say giving yourself a little bit of time to really understand, how does a software work? What are its functions? What are things that it's not doing? And making sure that you kind of have all of your ducks in a row in terms of, is there other software that you might need to turn off? Are there other tools outside of what Listing Mirror is managing that you're still going to need to do on your own? Is there anyone on your staff that might need a little bit of training? All of that can usually happen in those first few days of your Listing Mirror lifespan. So I guess another quick tip here is that your trial period. So we do offer a 14-day trial to use the software prior to subscribing. So during that trial period, you get 2 weeks to really make sure that it's working well for you. But that period does not begin until you click Start Syncing. That button inside of your account that says Start Syncing, that is specifically for syncing your listing data out to the marketplaces. Until you click that button, your trial has not started. It's another question I get all the time is, okay, my account is here. I assume my trial has started. I need it to be lengthened. And the truth is, no, it doesn't start until you click Start Syncing. Then my last step in this process is what I'm calling acceleration. I just wanted to keep up with the alliteration on the page here, but my main point here is, in order to really get to the point where you feel like you understand Listing Mirror, it's working for your company, you are seeing an increase in sales, you're seeing live listings on the marketplaces, your team feels empowered to use the software. Maybe you have other, like a virtual assistant that you have now working in the software to make sure that things are functioning properly. All of those things, I would say, take between 2 and 3 months before you should expect to feel completely comfortable in the software. It is a very complex software. The way that we always talk about it internally is that it's necessarily complex. So we don't overcomplicate things where we don't need to, but for sure there are parts of the software that are very complex and need a little bit more tweaking in order to make sure that they're working well for you. And that could be anything from changing settings on our end to you just changing workflows on your end to make sure that the processes are, working for both of us. And just a few notes here as well. We are a self-service product. So this means that you can get started anytime, anywhere. You do not have to wait for an onboarding call. You don't have to do a sales call, nothing like that. You can get started in the software as soon as you want to in whatever circumstances you're in. So, a lot of accounts get signed up for in the middle of the night, in the middle of my night. I'm in the United States. I'll wait, I'll come in the morning, and we have, several new accounts that were created overnight by US businesses. So I know that some of that happens, but if it's weekends, whatever, you can get started whenever. The second thing is we do have free onboarding. So our onboarding is not contingent upon a subscription. It's also not an additional charge. So if you would like to get some one-on-one training with an expert, it could be me, it could be someone else on the team. You can do that. You can do that, before you even start your trial period. We want to make sure that the software is going to be a success for you. We are not here to give you or sell you something that is not going to be valuable to you. So we want to make sure that everything is set up properly and that you understand how to use it. So make sure that if you are feeling like you need some help, that you ask for training from the support team, and we'll talk about how to get that a little bit later if you don't already know. And then the last thing I want to mention here is there's no long-term commitment. So it's a month-to-month subscription. There are no contracts. You can schedule monthly payments, and they can end at any time. So if you use it for a few months and then you realize, you know what, this tool is just not serving our needs, we understand that. Of course, we want to keep working with you, but if it's not a great fit, you're not under huge commitment to stay through a year or something like that. We believe that our tools, and we know that our tools are very useful for helping businesses succeed, and we want that relationship to be to feel very healthy and be one of mutual respect, and that is part of how we show that to you. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to talk about in terms of the Listing Mirror software, sorry, I skipped a slide, is we're going to talk about the 3 pillars of Listing Mirror. Basically, any feature that exists in the software falls under one of these pillars. So I'm not sure if you can read sideways, but the first one says listing management. The second one is inventory syncing. And the third one is order handling. So we're going to talk through each one of these pillars and kind of get a little bit more in depth. But at the ground level, that's what we're looking at. So we're looking at listing management, which is anything from creating to managing to editing the listings, to even deleting them. The second one, inventory syncing, can be all types of inventory syncing. So are we syncing multiple inventory sources? Are we, creating a max quantity on a channel or creating a holdback quantity on another, things like that. And then the third one is order handling, which could be anything from very simple, having Listing Mirror send orders through to be filled by Amazon. Or it could be something more complicated, like splitting up an order between inventory sources. So like I said, basically all of our functions, all of our features fall within one of these categories. So this is where we're going to start, is with listing management. And I promise Matt will get a turn to talk. It's just my slides are all at the beginning. So let's start with this analogy about Listing Mirror. Listing Mirror is not, we are a little bit indirectly connected to the marketplaces. What I mean by that is it's as if we are filling out a form with the information that we have from your marketplace connections, right? So you have a product that you're selling on Amazon. You own, let's say you're selling coffee mugs, right? You have your own patent on a coffee mug and you're selling it on Amazon, and you realize, okay, I really need to get into the Walmart marketplace, which I strongly recommend. What Listing Mirror does is we take that information that you've already built on the Amazon marketplace, and we basically fill out the form that is the Amazon listing, the Walmart listing form, right? So we fill out all the different fields that we have from the information that we got from your Amazon listing, and then we put it in the mail. So that mail is kind of like, that is our connection to Walmart. But then when it gets to Walmart's side, they are the recipient. They have to decide what to do with it. So something that can be quite confusing when we talk about all the marketing speak behind, creating listings, and we can get your listings live and all this stuff, is the reality that we don't control what the marketplace does with listing data. So just like someone could get a letter in their mailbox and choose not to open it, they could rip it up and throw it away. They could open it and do something with it. Those are all possibilities, right? So what we do our best to do is to send really good data, because of course, like if you're filling out, let's say you're filling out a tax form and you send it in and the information is wrong, then it just gets sent back to you and you have to redo it, or there could be penalties, things like that. So we really focus on getting really good data, getting very clear data, making sure that all of the data is there before we send it the first time. We have a lot of experience with this. We send thousands of listings, maybe hundreds of thousands of listings every day. So we're very, very familiar with how to do it. We're experts on how to do it, but we still don't control what the marketplace does with the information. Thankfully, marketplaces usually give us a little bit of information about what's wrong with it, if it's not the right thing, if they don't like it for whatever reason. But again, we're just sending the information. We aren't necessarily in control. Well, we aren't in control of what they do with that information. So the most that we can do in this scenario is send the best information that we can, that we've learned both from interacting with the marketplace and also sending tons of other letters or tons of other listings to this marketplace, right? And then the marketplace decides what they're going to do with it. So just understand that like that's kind of the umbrella that goes over this whole listing tool, right? We don't control that part of it. So then let's just talk a little bit about how that happens within Listing Mirror and what our interface looks like. Because if you're just looking at the software for the first time, this would be something that you're not quite familiar with. So this page here is our Manage Listings page. From this page inside of Listing Mirror, we can get to a few different things. But what you're seeing here is, the product that you're selling, so a little thumbnail, maybe a little bit of information like the title and things like that. And then on the right side, we're seeing the different marketplaces that you have added to your Listing Mirror account, saying, I have a connection to this store, I have an account set up, and I'm going to be selling my products here. Just a quick little tip here. Listing Mirror does not create sellers accounts, and we don't automatically just sell your products if you add them to the marketplace. So both those things are both very helpful to know and to understand. So we provide a platform for you to be able to sell your listings, but we don't necessarily do it for you. And we are not the seller. You are still the seller. We help you send the data. So a couple different things that you're going to see from that page. This is just a different iteration of the same page. What I did in this little video is I just clicked on the title and that pulls up the product information. I talked earlier about the product catalog. So every listing that we import from a marketplace becomes a product in your business's product catalog inside of Listing Mirror. So we connect listings by SKU. So if your listing has the same SKU across marketplaces, we will add them to the same line in Listing Mirror, which indicates to us it's the same product. That's how we manage listing data. That's how we manage inventory as well. So it is really important that you have those connected properly. And like I said, then we add them to the product catalog. What's important about that is that's how we create listings. So from the catalog, from the product catalog listing data, that's how a listing is created. So listings are created with that product data, but then you can edit that data by marketplace to make sense for the market that you're selling it on. So this little video that you're looking at here, this is a particular product that I'm just scrolling over, I'm clicking on the edit listing, the edit button, and then we're going in and we're looking specifically at the eBay listing for this product. So I can edit these fields based on the information that was already generated by Listing Mirror, which came from your product, right? You can add in the different information that either is missing or that you just want different on this particular channel. So, like I said, we generate the information automatically, but then you can edit it to make sense for what you're doing and your particular process. And then the last part about listing management that I'll mention is pricing. I So pricing lives on its own tab within inside of Listing Mirror, but it does still fall under the listing management side of things. So pricings can be managed directly on the listing page, which we just looked at. I'll go back a slide here. You can manage your pricing on this page here, on your listing page, or you can manage it on the pricing page as well. So you can navigate to the pricing page from the blue bar at the top from the header. And on this page, you can see the different marketplaces, and then you can edit the prices accordingly and then save your changes, and that will sync the price out to the marketplace. And just so you understand, that is assuming that the listing is in sync, right? So a listing being in sync just means that it is connected properly to the channel and that we are pushing the listing to the marketplace. We're not going to get into errors today, but if that's something that you're confused about, please ask questions and we'll hit them when we get further into the webinar. Okay, Matt, it's your turn.
Hey, my turn. So inventory. So we'll get right down to it. So of course, one of the bigger things is inventory management, making sure your inventory is the same across all marketplaces. So when you connect your stores to Listing Mirror, what you want to do is use Listing Mirror as a hub of inventory control going forward. So if anything changes, like hey, I have SKU ABC and I've gained more product of it, so you need to log into Listing Mirror, find SKU ABC, and change its inventory, just as you are seeing in this little GIF here. We have a couple different ways to change inventory. This is the most straightforward. It's just done through the UI, but we also have bulk templates if you're more comfortable working through Excel, Excel sheets and all that fun stuff. Allows you to update thousands of SKUs at once, rather than having to go one by one. But kind of up to you. We like to offer a variety of different ways to do things because different people have different workflows. So based on that inventory changing, the next slide for inventory sources. So your inventory source is you can see it, you can look at it as like your warehouse. So if you have if you are using Amazon FBA quantity, you'll have an inventory source for FBA. If you have like an East Coast warehouse, you can have an East Coast warehouse inventory source and a West Coast inventory source as well. You can name them. You can add little details as you see in that GIF, like address and name and all that fun stuff. It's not used, I don't think, out externally, but it's kind of more internal as far as like the address of your warehouse and stuff like that. Excuse me. But yeah, inventory sources, kind of where the main point is. Like that is what's holding your inventory. So like if you have your East Coast inventory, you log into Listing Mirror, find the SKU, and change your East Coast inventory source because a product listing can hold multiple inventory sources. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I'm trying to think if I need to expound anything further on that, but I guess not, because the next slide kind of shows you how we handle those inventory sources, which is based on the integration level, and you can sort by them. So for instance, as you're seeing on here, you have a green box and a red box. So you have enabled inventory sources and you have disabled inventory sources. You will have this setting for each integration, and it allows you to determine which inventories we're sending to which marketplaces. So for example, you're like, I have a West Coast, an East Coast, and an FBA quantity. Those are your three inventory sources, warehouses. For Walmart, you can be like, I don't want to use my FBA, but I'll use my East Coast first and my West Coast second. So what that means is when a Walmart order comes into Listing Mirror, we will check the SKU. Does it have East Coast inventory source or inventory? It does. Cool. Mark it as an East Coast order. If it doesn't have East Coast inventory, it'll default to West Coast. And you can use this to debate things with like FBA. So for example, like on eBay, you're like, I want to sell all three. I want to do my FBA. I want to do my West Coast. I want to do my East Coast. So for this instance, you could be like, I want to use FBA first. The Amazon shipping that out for me. I don't want to have to worry about it. And I want to use it first, get rid of it, and then use my own inventory to follow. So you can have FBA as your number one inventory source, followed by East and West. Or just like East if you want to, if you have, if you just don't want to use your West Coast inventory source for whatever reason. But this allows you to determine how orders are handled based on the inventory sources. And this is per each integration. So each marketplace can be unique in how it handles this inventory. And then the following, so I think the next slide is merchant. Oh, and I forgot to mention setback and holdback quantity. So what that is So max quantity, you could set it at 10. So no matter how much inventory you have, we'll just send at most 10. This is super useful for marketplaces like eBay that limit how many sales you can post to the marketplace. And I think that re-ups every month. So like some have like, you can't sell more than 10, you can't list more than $10,000 worth of product. And if you have an item that's worth $1,000, you send 10 quantity to eBay and bam, that's your max. So you could set max quantity to 2, and that only takes up to 2,000 of your total 10,000 of listed inventory worth, if you will. And then holdback quantity can be useful for if you have a really hot selling item and you're posted across multiple marketplaces. Because Listomir, as great as it is, can only sync inventory and orders so quickly. So if you have an item that sells really hot and you have only 3 quantity left and you have eBay and Walmart and it sells on both of those marketplaces at the exact same time, there's not much really any software can do to prevent that. But holdback quantity can help a little. So if you had that holdback set to 5, as soon as your quantity drops to 5, we'll send 0. And this can help prevent. So like you're at 6 quantity and you have a double sale of 3 different quantity, you'd be fine. But once you got to 1 or 2 quantity left, this is where that holdback quantity comes into hand. And I think I've overtalked that point at this point. So
No, I think it's helpful just to understand exactly what that looks like inside of Listomir. There's a lot of nuance to it. So
right, yeah, like providing examples is about the best I can do
Yeah.
for that kind of stuff, because definitely it's nuanced. But for order handling, so for merchant fulfill, so this is your own, this is your own handling. This is your warehouse. You need to handle these orders. A couple different ways, but we are able to process returns, refunds, and cancellations for your marketplaces. And then if you have a ShipStation or a desktop shipper account, you're able to integrate that with Listomir. And it kind of cuts down on some. Listomir plays the middleman, so you connect your marketplaces to Listomir. Listomir connects to ShipStation, and then we'll filter orders to ShipStation based on a few different settings. So it makes it really useful because usually when you connect ShipStation to eBay, ShipStation is just going to grab all of your eBay orders. But when you do it through Listomir, we could filter it. So you could be like, I MCF some orders, sending them off to Amazon Fulfillment using FBA quantity. Those are orders I don't need to worry about. I don't need to see them. I don't need to hear about them. So you could filter. So ShipStation never pulls MCF orders, MCF eBay orders from Listomir. So when you log into ShipStation, all you're looking at is orders that you need to handle. Super useful for that kind of stuff. And then order splitting we can do as well. So like you have 2 different SKUs coming in order. One SKU has FBA quantity. The other one's FBM quantity, your own. We're able to split that off, separate fulfill them, and then notify the marketplace all at once. That is definitely useful. But for the next slide, I think it goes further into MCF, if I do recall. Yep, multi-channel fulfillment. So this is sending orders off to Amazon. This is the bread and butter of Listomir for sure, because we can do this automatically without any input of you based on the sorted inventory sources we talked earlier. So like when an order comes in, we'll check, we can see the SKU, we'll look into inventory. Does it have FBA quantity? It does. Cool. Send the request off to Amazon. As long as it's successful, you won't hear anything about it. We'll just get the tracking data from Amazon and then notify the marketplace. And that's you doing nothing. You set these integration settings up beforehand, and then it just handles everything going forward. No need to mess around or putz for each order. It just happens. Super useful. Oh, and the deliver is another 3PL, third-party logistics. So they, similar to Amazon, you can send them product. They will store it in their warehouses, and then they will ship it from them. And this is really nice for Walmart, for example, because Walmart does not like you MCF orders off to Amazon. But Deliver, they have no problem. So Deliver can essentially fill that role that Amazon FBA would do normally for a marketplace. But for something like Walmart, where you have the chance of getting banned, not a great consequence of that. So Deliver is a great alternative for that, and we do integrate with them. And it's similar to how FBA works, is they'll send us, or I think we pull Deliver quantity periodically, updating the inventory in Listomir. We'll send that out to the marketplace, and then based off sort order of those inventory sources for the integration, we'll fill the order appropriately. And I think that comes to the end of my talking points.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. All right. So just a couple hot tips and tricks. We love adding these in, both because they are really useful and because it really does cut down on the number of times that you need to get in touch with us and then wait for us to give you an answer about something. Yeah,
convenient.
so we have two instances of this that we want to share with you today, and they are inventory history and pricing history. So inventory history is a page that we built specifically so that you can go in and you can see when quantity changes took place, which inventory source they took place on, and what the reason was for the change. So was it because someone edited the quantity? Was it because an order took place? Was it because there was a cancellation of an order? What exactly was the
That's great.
reason why the quantity changed? This is also another reason why I think it's really important that each user that is using your Listing Viewer account has their own login. Because if something does go wrong, it's nice to be able to say, okay, so and so uploaded this spreadsheet and they must have had the quantity wrong in the spreadsheet, and that's why we oversold. So that is a really useful way to set up your users inside of your Listing Viewer account. And that is offered on all of our plans except for our smallest plan. The light plan does not offer that. It only has one user, but the rest of our plans do include an unlimited amount of users with their own permissions. So keep that in mind. Make sure that you're setting up a user for each person who's logging into your account so that you can track exactly what's going on. That also really helps, like I said, when something goes wrong, for us to be able to give you feedback. And it looks like I don't have my other slide here, because the other slide I wanted to show you was for pricing history. So I will just talk through the pricing history one.
Oh, it is. It's lower.
Oh,
I think it's
really?
lower down
Did I
in
just lose
the
it?
slide. Yeah, it's number 23.
Keep going. Oh, here we go. Guys, it just got out of order. So sorry about that. Okay.
Just a little mix up.
So for price history, we are really excited to be able to offer this for Listing Viewer. This is a new thing that we are doing on for you as a user to be able to see it. So previously it was something that we could look into for you, but we didn't. It was very hard, and so we're very excited to have this. This page is going to be similar, except in our new branding. So I guess this is a good time to mention too. You might notice within our account, or within your account in Listing Viewer, some of your pages look a little bit different. So we're going through a great, amazing branding update. And so our pages are going to be shifting over. Everything will be done by the end of this year for sure, hopefully sooner. Anyway, so pricing history. Price history is the same concept. So you go to this page and you're going to be looking up when the price change took place. So is something selling for too little? This is a great place to look. How is it selling for too little? What happened? Did I set up a rule wrong? Did I run the rule multiple times? And who did the price change, right? So all of this stuff will be helpful in you being able to find out what exactly is going on when something goes awry, which is our next point. So,
and a quick note on the price history sync, since it is relatively new, I think we haven't logged every single price change. So you'll see a lot of them you'll see a lot of price history, like especially if it's for a SKU you haven't touched the price on. When you check out the price history page, it'll be blank because we're only recording. I can't remember when we started it. James, I think, logged it in December maybe. So if like you haven't changed the price, like if you changed it like last June and never touched it since, when you go to that price history page, it'll be blank.
Okay,
just kind of a heads
up. That is a good thing to note, because we didn't retroactively go back in time and do this.
Yes, right.
It'll just be like the last couple months, but super useful moving forward for sure, especially if you're someone who changes prices a lot. So, okay, when things go awry, what do you do? That is a really good time to reach out to us. So I just like to make a small plug here for the Listing Viewer support team. So a huge part of what makes Listing Viewer is the way that we support our clients. We do genuinely see ourselves as partners in your growing business. And we want to make sure that the way that we are building our software and the way that we're communicating with our users always makes sense and is always relevant. We can't do that if we're not in touch with you. And we can't do that if we don't know what's going on. So if there is anything going on inside of your account that is unexpected, we want you to get in touch. So this little video is showing you how to get in touch with our team. So there's a quick help button in the bottom right of your screen. click on that. It'll take you to our knowledge base. Our knowledge base is a great place to look for information that you might need in order to set up your account. So we have a whole training center in there. We also have a lot of bigger articles that go into more detailed things. It's a great learning resource and improving every single day. We have hundreds of articles in there. You probably will get to the point where you can figure out your whole account. But if not, get in touch with us, because there's also a button that says submit a request. I think that's what it says. Yes. So through that button, you can get straight in touch with the team, including Matt, get your questions answered, get pointed to the right knowledge base article if you're just not finding it, or letting us know that something is not working as promised. We're open to that. Like I said here, we're not perfect, but we're pretty dang good. And if you don't think so, let us know. We would love to continue improving, and we love to get to know our clients as well as people, because that's what makes all this work. Okay, so we are shifting gears here. I'm very excited to answer some questions.
I think Raven's been doing some background answering while we've been doing this.
Okay. The first one I see that I don't think that has been answered yet is this one from Johnny, asking, this tool syncs both ways with Amazon. Okay, so did that get answered? I don't think so. All right. Oh, yep. It looks like Raven did answer it a little bit. So like she said, you can create listings from within inside of Listingmere. There's a couple ways to do that. You can add offers to existing listings, which then generates the product inside of Listingmere. So that's if the listing exists. You can also upload a spreadsheet into Listingmere. It's an Amazon flat file that you would download from your Seller Central account. So you can upload that into Listingmere instead of uploading it to Amazon. We can't do listing edits in the interface like you can for other channels, simply because of the complexities of making that happen.
Of that API.
It's wild. It wouldn't be a very nice interaction for our users, and so we don't even allow you to do that. But a lot of syncing does take place both ways. So inventory syncing, price syncing we can do. I think someone else asked a question about price syncing as well. So we'll get into that in a second. Okay. We got a question from Marco. Is it in the timeline for Amazon Vendor Central? Okay, so Amazon Vendor Central, we would love to connect to this. Right now, is it on? I wouldn't say it's on like our short list. I know that it's something that we have considered. I believe that there are technical reasons why we can't yet support it. So I'm going to say not yet, but it's not impossible that it will happen. I just don't know exactly when that might be. Okay, is there? Lise asks, can we add data? Oh, Raven is killing it here. She's answering.
I think she's answered most, except for there is a question about SKU Vault that I don't think she knows the answer to.
So let's get this here. The one from Steve. Okay. Go for it, Matt.
Can I use SKU Vault as main source of product inventory management? Yes, we are able to integrate with SKU Vault, and we will pull periodically. And there's like a whole bunch of settings you enable. But yes, in theory, we'd pull inventory constantly, and they would tell us what you have. So instead of logging into Listingmere and like making changes, SKU Vault just tells us. Will Listingmere create a new product when I add inventory to SKU Vault item? That it will not, and I think that has confused a few new SKU Vault people that I've worked with recently. Is like if you create an item in SKU Vault, Listingmere won't see it. You need to like simultaneously do it on both ends. If you're an Amazon seller first, for example, and you have SKU Vault, you log into Amazon Seller Central, create the item, using the same SKU as you did in SKU Vault. Listingmere imports that Amazon SKU, or that Amazon listing, creates a product SKU based off that market listing we just imported, and then the next inventory sync from SKU Vault, we would update inventory to a match.
Another reason,
but otherwise, because you got to be doing both sides. It goes with kitting and bundling as well.
Yeah, and right. So I guess two more reasons then. So one reason to connect Listing Mirror with SKU Vault, if you are a SKU Vault user and you're using Listing Mirror, is for the kitting and bundling. So kitting and bundling would allow you to set up, multiple products that go to the same listing. Within Listing Mirror, you can set those up, and then we can connect those properly to SKU Vault, because SKU Vault doesn't handle that. The other reason is because if you are selling on eBay or Etsy, I think those are the two. Part of creating a listing on either of those marketplaces is the fact that we have to send quantity with those listings. And that can be really messy when you are selling in volume of any kind. So because what happens is Listing Mirror has to sync a listing with one quantity. And then you have to overwrite that soon with your SKU Vault inventory. But because SKU Vault doesn't sync as often, it can, you can end up in having some headaches there if orders do take place before all that. So
it should be under instead of over, though.
Yes, but you would have to account for it in your counting when you're, you know what I mean? And like, how do you know? Anyway, so you can get deep into the weeds there. But anyway, suffice it to say, it is better if you're using SKU Vault. It is much better for you to add your SKU Vault integration to Listing Mirror. Let Listing Mirror be the source of truth for inventory syncing, if only because we sync much faster than SKU Vault does. So keep that in mind.
And like when orders sell, we'll reduce quantity from the SKU Vault inventory sources. Like we'll still do that ends, right? We just we won't wait for SKU Vault to be like, we just sold stuff. Like Listing Mirror already knows you just sold by quantity. We'll reduce by 5. And on the next time SKU Vault tells us you have quantity, it'll likely just match what we have. If it doesn't, we'll adjust.
Okay, so it looks like Raven just answered this question. So we had a question, listing on eBay. Can I find eBay category on any bulk template to change it? So yes, in the market listing core edit template, like Raven mentioned, it exists on this, and you can change it in bulk from there. We didn't get into templates today just because we wanted to stay pretty surface level. You guys are asking really good questions, but I don't want to lose anybody that may not be quite ready for those questions. So, okay. So let's see what other question we've got here. Okay, another one from Marco. Let's see. If our Shopify account is integrated with ShipStation and ShipStation already fulfills the orders from Shopify via Vendor Central, if we were to connect through Listing Mirror to eBay and Shopify, do you think the connection would work smoothly for eBay orders to be filled from Amazon Vendor Central at the end?
Lost me at the end there. I understood until that last bit.
So this is like Listing Mirror would be sending orders. We may just have to talk about this offline, Marco, unfortunately, because I just think it's, I'm not sure. I would need to see, I think maybe a diagram would help to kind of understand.
Love me a good diagram.
How exactly, okay, wait, we've got one here. eBay to Shopify, ShipStation to Vendor Central.
Listing Mirror can send orders to Shopify. That's true.
Yeah.
It's a new thing too that we do that we just recently started doing. So
maybe you could try it. I maybe you try connecting it, do a test order and see. It could work for sure.
Yeah, because we definitely have the ability to send orders to Shopify. So in my head, yes, that would work.
It is 2:46, and I don't want to let this run much later just because I know everyone's time is very precious. I really like all these questions though. Okay, let's answer one more and then we will wrap up. So can I merge 2 SKUs to make one listing through a bulk template? Do we have a merge listing template?
We have a link one. I don't know if we have a merge one.
If it exists, it would you could click on it through the you would select it from the drop down on the bulk edit spreadsheet. It would be called merge. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. No, we don't have
Okay.
a bulk template for
Do
that.
not have a bulk template for merging.
No. Merging and splitting is still strictly through the
Okay.
UI.
Oh, and Raven even said that she's hoping that we had one.
Yeah, we could definitely. It's been like on our chopping block for
Yeah.
like ever to have a bulk template for splitting and merging, because there are times when you need to do it in bulk. It's pretty infrequent. That's why it's always had a low score and it's just never made the cut. But
Yeah.
it's definitely something we've discussed
Right.
many
Yeah,
times.
absolutely. Okay. I don't want to cut anybody off. Okay, I guess I see one more question here.
Yeah, we got
what
time.
are bullet points used for within product descriptions? So
just more like a generic, like what are bullet points for?
I kind of wonder if maybe this is more about the fact that bullet points don't exist as bullet points on the
Not on all marketplaces. Very true.
right. So I believe what we would do on the product description.
We tag it onto the description.
Do we add it? I think we add it to.
We'll tack it onto the description for any marketplaces that don't have bullet points specifically as a field. Like Walmart has bullet points, like they're like fields on that marketplace, but eBay does not. So for Walmart, we'll take the bullet points from the product listing and fill out the market listing. But for like eBay, which doesn't have bullet points as a thing, we'll send the description, then we'll take the bullet points, kind of tag them on there and send them off to eBay.
Yes, we just add a bulleted list in the eBay template or the eBay description field, and we added an unordered list for that.
Yep. Nothing too crazy.
Okay. Raven is knocking out these questions left and right, and I hope you guys have noticed she's been linking several knowledge base articles, which will be helpful to you as well moving forward.
Or useful.
So make sure that you take a look at those. Okay. So just a couple last minute notes before we wrap up today and you guys can get back to your busy work days. If you need further help, if you need more training, so this is like, you've been using the software for a while and there's something that you still feel like you're not getting. If you need help troubleshooting, if you want help strategizing how Listing Mirror can benefit your business more, etc., I'm a really great contact for that. I really like going through those type of scenarios, figuring out, what we could be doing that we're not doing for you, etc. So please do get in touch with me. I would love to be able to add value to your Listing Mirror experience, and this is a great way for me to use my time. And I also really like connecting with our sellers as well. So do get in touch. And we mentioned this before, as far as when things go awry, what do you do? So I won't go over this a ton, but again, knowledge base, you can submit requests. That's also where you would go to submit bug reports and create feature requests. So if there's something that you would really love to see in the software that you don't see right now, let us know. We catalog all of those things. And we would be happy to, to take your requests. And it's possible someone else has asked for it too, and that makes it that pushes it to the front of our calendar, and then we get it pushed into development, and then your feature is live. So we would love to do that for you.
Always a fun process.
Okay, this was my out of order slide.
All right.
Well, thank you guys so much for your time. We really appreciate you taking your time to sit here on this webinar and to ask us such great questions. I really hope that this was helpful to you. Again, please get in touch if there's anything that did not make sense, and let us know how we can do better next time. We would love your feedback. Hope you all have a great day. Bye.
Bye. Is it just me in here now? Guess I should close this.